what is the next big news that drops? What's the next morning we wake up with? And it's like, Tesla bought $1 billion of Bitcoin. What's the next news like that? Is it a big company? Is it, I just kind of want to know your moonshot.
I think the next news that'll drop is you'll see some big investment, like famous investment names, like big macro investors or big investors in the market. And then someone will say, yeah, we bought $1 billion worth of it, or we bought a lot of it and we're buying a lot more. Okay. I don't know which one, but it's, look, there's 10,000 big companies that could buy $1 billion of this. There's 10,000 big investors that could buy $1 billion of this. And there's 10,000 individuals floating out there that could buy $1 billion of this. And that's the universe. And right now, I announced I bought $1 billion. Elon Musk announced he bought $1 billion. You know, we've had a couple of announcements of 750 million. So, you know, you got 30,000 different players, and there's not a lot of room in this thing. So at some point, you're going to see 1, 2, 3 more of them. They're going to come out with serious news like that because it's possible and it's logical.
I think it's got to be Apple. That's what I want to happen, is like last time we talked about the Apple buying as much as possible, becoming like the Fed of Bitcoin. I'm still like, Apple, stop building an electric car to try and compete with Tesla. Just literally buy 100 billion of Bitcoin as fast as you can, and you'll make $1 trillion in 5 years. And that'll add the $1 trillion to your market cap instead of fiddling around with competing head on with Elon Musk. Like if I actually, you know what I mean? Like, and it's almost going to be fiduciarily like irresponsible for them not to have done it when they just hold their fiat. But anyway, that's like kind of, I just keep feeling like, you know, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy once you do it. And that's why Elon said in retrospect, it was inevitable. It's like, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Bitcoin's up 30%, never going like, you know, since just because of Tesla. So
it is sitting right there. Apple could raise $100 billion in debt at 1 or 2% interest. They can
compound it 200%
money.
Yeah.
And again, the leverage comes from the cheap debt markets, the corporate debt markets, convert and secure debt market. That's the leverage. The fulcrum, the place to stand, is Bitcoin. And so we're waiting to see which company is going to be the Archimedes, and they're going to use that leverage against that fulcrum to move the world. You know, yeah, it could be. I think the real issue right now, or at least a subtle issue, is the accounting treatment. If you buy the underlying Bitcoin as an intangible asset, and I think conservative CFOs, they're kind of it creates a little bit of pause for them to buy billions and billions of dollars of an intangible asset, because they'll have to do non-GAAP accounting on a balance sheet item and explain it to their shareholders. And so if they don't do that, then they have to go and they have to buy it as a fund, and then they have to get comfortable that if they held it in a fund model that they would get GAAP accounting. And so I really think right now, working through the way they communicate it to their shareholder base and the way they account for it is what causes people to pause before they aggressively pursue this strategy.
Fascinating. You're making me think of Zuckerberg, because he copies everything that's legit, and he copied Libra. That was a huge push. He hired David Marcus, who was the PayPal guy, who was bullish on Bitcoin. So I know Facebook is thinking about, I think they were doing some sort of remittance payment with WhatsApp in India as well. So I feel like, to me, Facebook seems like the most to integrate into their service, even beyond buying some on their balance sheet, is like just imminent.
In my opinion, Facebook has the most to gain and needs to do this.
Interesting.
Like, Apple's got an iron lock on iOS. I mean, look how much power they have. A lot of power. Google has a really, really strong business and an iron lock on Android. Facebook is kind of the odd man out, because they need to have a mobile app that's running on iOS and Android. And they're getting pressured by Apple with, you know, the latest privacy token maneuvering, and you can see the sparks flying there. So how do I upgrade my application so that it is so valuable that 1 billion people swear you will have to pry it from their cold, dead fingers? Okay, it's like, You're going to take away my photos. You're going to take away my friendly chats, or you're going to take away my money. Like when money flows in to Facebook, then that's going to shift the balance of power. And it's, you know, it's offensive and it's defensive. It's a defensive thing. You kind of got to do it to protect yourself against Apple and Google squeezing you on the platform. It's offensive because it's a way to double or triple your value proposition to 1 billion people. I mean, what could be more important than giving 1 billion people a savings account that yields 200% tax-free interest per year? Like, I can't think of something. I also think, you know, the wild card here is Amazon, because this is a chance for, I mean, Amazon Pay, is it critical? I mean, compared to Apple Pay or Google Pay? I mean, no, right? Apple's, if I was in the pay business competing against Apple, I'm thinking, well, these guys control the operating system, they control the device. You better come up with something really compelling if you're going to compete against the company that controls the device and controls the operating system. Well, one very compelling thing is something that doubles every 6 months. Pretty compelling.
How do you see?
I think Amazon and Facebook, they're the challengers in the mobile space. I think that Amazon's got their own franchise. They can afford to ignore it if they want, and they'll be fine. It's just an opportunity for them. For Facebook, I think it's a necessity for them. They need to build it into WhatsApp and into Facebook Messenger and into the core. Otherwise, they get squeezed. I think Apple and Google, it's an opportunity for them. And if they don't move, then Square and PayPal just get stronger and stronger until somebody notices. That's what I think.
Totally. And I feel like they're already noticing. And even beyond corporations, I wonder, now I'm thinking about the central bank sort of theory, or are they just so slow and dinosaurs that they don't even get this? But I'm thinking about like these huge sort of entities that have mass amounts of capital, maybe like some of these sovereign wealth funds. What's your take on that side of the equation, these other bigger financial players getting involved?
I think the hedge funds will move much more aggressively next. The hedge funds were participating. It's like, we have a little bit of this and a little bit of gold. Okay, gold's up 9%, Bitcoin's up 450%. A little, you know, we got more gold and Bitcoin. That doesn't really work anymore, right? I mean, you got to have your head examined if you're allocating the gold, right? Any rational person that can run a spreadsheet is like, what are you going to do? Well, last year gold didn't work. Let's sell some gold and buy some Bitcoin.